Well, hello, my name's Ralph and welcome back to the channel. It's my time, let's go. Today we're working away on Big Blue and we're getting down to it. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty and we found a few problems, but we've got things squared away. So now we're putting things back together, priming the oil pump, doing those sort of things, getting it ready to go and taking it out for a ride and see what's happening. So stick with us, let's see how my day goes. All right, so now we've put a new gasket on here. And I've tried some spacers, so what I've got here now is pushing in on it, laying it right across the surfaces, and pushing in tight. I could just get a 13 in there. So 13 minus 6 leaves me 7th thou in there, which is fine for my in-gear play. So we're gonna go with that. Now, because I've got to check the end play on my camshaft, because God knows where that is, I'm going to have to pull a lifter block so that I can get down in there with a feeler gauge and have a look and see what's going on in there with my end spacing. So I'll get the block off and we'll have a look at it. So I'm going to put a new cam bearing in it, being as how, judging by how the rest of it was, for the price of a bearing at this point. Here we go. Well, that's got her out. All right, let's try to get our bearing in there. I want to oil it up good. And we make sure we're on the numbered side of the bearing. Just very gently making sure you're square. Sure we're down below the lip. Okay, and that's in there, new bearing. I feel way better about that, way better about that. Alrighty, I just had a round kind of spacer in there for that. We're gonna put the proper one in. What was in it, this is what we're gonna put in it with the ears so that it'll capture a little oil here and oil that bearing. I guess it would sort of do it, but while we're in here now, let's put the right and proper stuff in. So we got a cam spacer here on it. We'll just stick that on there and have a look, see where we're going with our new cover. Okay. That ain't gonna work, is it? All right, I'm gonna work away at it, get my spacer set. It's just a matter of trial and error, reaching down inside, checking your spacing back here between your cam bearing and that. So we're gonna check our spacing and play with it a bit, get what we need. We got a different cover on there and things, so there's a lot of stuff, a lot of variables that have to be set. So I'm gonna work away at that, and we'll come back. Well, it's taking a bit of trial and error in there to make sure everything fits right, but we've got our cam spacing set, and I'm just gonna reach down inside, and I've got my breather gear turned around to where I can see the screen in there. So I'm just gonna put my little pick in there. You can see here I got a little bit of free movement in it, which is what I want. Okay. Okay, so we've got our cam spacing set. Our spacers there. We don't need this one. I'll put that back in the box. I'm running about 5 thou clearance on my cam in there with everything torqued up. And I think about 6 or 7 on my breather gear here. Now we're going to work away at the oil pump, and I'm going to start getting the oil pump gear in. This one is usually the hardest to get in there, but we'll slide her in there. Okay, put her gear in. All right. Some new keys. The hard part is to get this little key in the slot of the gear. There we go. Now, to get this little clip piece on the end of the shaft that's sticking through. I can't get my hands and camera and everything in there. So, there we go. There we go. So it's this little spot in here where the key had to go in there, into the key slot. And then we put our C-clip on the very end of it. So this gear always has to be very free. And if you just try to bolt it all together and you bolt your pump on, there's no way to tell if that gear is spinning free or not. So we need to do it this way. All right, so we'll slide these on, the big ones. The big ones are the return gear. Feel it go in the keyway. You can feel it when it hits the key. Make sure you're engaged in both of them. Now we'll drop our other one in here. We will attempt to slide it through. We're going to oil the end of it up here. It's got to go through our new seal. And let's see if we can get it on there. There we go, just turn your gear a little bit, and that will allow it to slide on there. And we're just going to stick our top bolts in here, keep our gasket in place. Now, we need to get in there. And that can be a trick. That's in there. And getting the gear to slide on it is sometimes tricky. And there we go. It's in there. Okay. Slide our other gear in. Now, we've got to get the clip on that. And that can be a trick. Sometimes those can go easy, or they can go very, very hard. Alrighty. I'm gonna try and get this little C-clip in here. Yeah, we're not working out very well, are we? So it was a bit of a pain in the ass, but you can see it here. And now that gear is locked onto there. So we need to put our cap on. All right. Just a little tiny drip on them. Not very much. Wiping my hands like that. And one. Now we want to make sure that we can spin the inner gear here as we tighten up the oil pump. Do these 4 first, avoid doing those until you've got these just about in position. And line up your pump. Okay, see now I'm getting a little tiny bit of binding there. So we're just gonna back off. Try to move the pump around a little. Okay, we're feeling pretty good there. And this is just a lot of trial and error. So I'm just going to play with it and move it back and forth so I can get it to where I got to tighten it in and what it's supposed to be, and I've got no binding. It's going to take a few minutes doing that, so I'll do that and come back. So we got it pretty close there now. You just got to take your time, move the pump around. So I can spin the gear in there, no problem. So we can start snugging these ones up. That feels pretty good in there. I don't know if enough room to get my little torque wrench in there, I don't think. But we'll give it a try. So we got our torque wrench set to 100 foot-pounds. It's 90 to 110 foot-pounds. And I think I'm pretty close, but won't hurt to check. It's pretty close. This one here. There we are. And our gear is still spinning nice and free, and we're torqued. So you can't torque these ones, but like I say, you get a feel for it. There we go. And this is the gear we're talking about here. And as you can see, I can spin it very easily with my fingers. So I know that our pump is not binding up as it was when I took it apart. So that's about the way we want it to fit in there. We want to be able to spin that nice and free, so that our oil pump can do its job. All right, next we're gonna slide our oil pump gear in, and it's chamfered on one side. My key is still there. I'm just gonna slide it. It should slide right in there. There we go. And it should slide right in there. You might have to wiggle it a little bit to get it to go in. There we go. That goes in. Our little spacer. This should be freewheeling in there. Okay, key. So now we're going to get our pinion gears in there and get her buttoned up, I hope. So we'll start with our pinion gear. We've got our key in. Put our pinion gear on. And in order to tighten that, we have our small Jim's unit here, which is very handy to hold keep your pinion from moving or changing position when you're trying to tighten it up. So we're just gonna put those on. We just lock it into a tooth. My nut on first. A little drip, just a drip of Loctite, a little tiny bit. Left hand thread. Now, get our little unit in place. and it just lines up and engages with the teeth on the pinion gear. And you screw this in. So I'm hoping to get this buttoned up today and probably get it out for a ride since it's a nice day. Maybe. It's supposed to be hot all week. And if you haven't yet, be sure to check out my buddies down south, Hippie's Chopper Corner and Slickhead's Custom Cycles. Hippie's the home of the sketchy choppers and the stock frame killer, and he's got one chopper after another on the go, lots of things on the go down there. And Slick has just got the most beautiful collection of bikes that I can imagine for a person to have at his young age. Imagine how many he'll have when he's as old as me. So check them out, Hippie's Chopper Corner, Slickhead's Custom Cycles. You won't be disappointed. Okay, let's see if we can find some short screws. So I got a couple lifter block screws. I got them out. They're gonna be just the right length for me. There we go. So we'll just use this little tool that my wife made for me in 1990. She was taking a machinist course. She was a good machinist. Okay, because it's backwards, use our old standby here, and it's 35 to 45 pounds. So. Hard to find a spot to get by them big fat tanks. Should do it. All right. And when you reach in here, and with this torqued on, you have to make sure there's play in this gear that it can move back and forth. It can't be solid. There has to be free play in it once it's torqued. So, just get this off now. We are getting closer. Getting closer. It's supposed to be 30 degrees here today. Bit of a heat wave. But bike and t-shirt weather, my kind of weather. There we go. Now, I'm just gonna pull the gear out because it makes it easier to get the cam in, and I have my mark right here, which I'm gonna line up with my camshaft. So you'll be looking for the bottom dot on here. There's a dot here and a dot here. This bottom dot is what lines up with your pinion gear, and this dot lines up with your breather gear. So we're gonna set this in place. Try to get her in there, and a new bearing. Go around, go around, go around. Alrighty, so that's in place, lined up with this dot. Now we need to line this dot. Some of them have a dot, but this breather gear like has a T. I don't know if you can see that, a T mark, and that is your mark right there. So we need to line that one up. This here. And the T mark is in between the groove. Put our little spacer on. So you can see the T is lined up with this dot, and this slash on here is lined up with this one. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. So those are the marks that you're looking for when you're lining the cam up. So we know we're all in place there now. We're good. I'm going to put my cover on, and I'm going to leave this off at this time so I can do one more final check when I've torqued my cover up. I know I'm good on this gear, and I feel I'm good on the other one, but with a new cam cover and new spacing, those kind of things on, it doesn't hurt to check. Alrighty, we have the proper cam cover now. This one has the spot here for the gasket. And another giveaway is the tube on here. 92 and up have no tube. There is no tube. Don't just put that shiny cover on because it looks cool if you're not sure what it should be. Okay, a little dab of oil on these surfaces. And here. Go. Now 90 to 120 inch-pounds. I've just left the two off the bottom there until I route my ignition system wire down through. But right now, I just want to make sure I got play. Because if I don't, with it torqued, then we have a bit of a problem. It never hurts to double check and triple check. Now the specs in there is 1,000ths. We're pretty tight in there. Pretty tight in there. It is a little bit, but I'm not real happy with that. It just doesn't give me enough. So I'm gonna change it. Just a little bit there. Just a little too much. All right. So through the trials and tribulations of getting things to fit, the first cover that I had, the bushings weren't quite in line like I would have liked to have them, and it seemed to tighten up in there when I put it in. So I've dug through my stuff and I've got another cover here that seems to fit right, and I've checked my clearances, and my clearances are where they're supposed to be with the new cover. So this is the one we're going with. It's not chrome, but chrome don't get you home. And with it on there, I know I can still alrighty. Let's put a little bit of Loctite on. It's been a while. Sometimes it just takes some trial and error, and the person has to be patient and vigilant of what you're doing, because you can't let it get frustrated and just shove things together. And okay. And I can move my camshaft back and forth ever so slightly so I know I have my clearance in there, and I'm happy with that. So we just torqued those puppies. All right. Okay. Now I'm a happy guy. The clearances are good. Everything's good. Our timing is good. And last visual in there. Everything looks good. Okay. So now we're going to use our little tool like this, and this is for aligning the lifter blocks. Just helps get them into place where they should be. As you can see, they can move around a lot on here. You can see they're in a variety of places, and the threads will sort of line them up. But this little tool is made to go down and it's tapered. And there we go. With the tool in, we can't move it, and things should be lined up where they want to go, I would hope. See, your screws go right in there. And by keeping them in place, it helps keep the rollers of your lifters lined up with the camshaft where they're supposed to be. It only takes a second. All right. Okay. Now we're getting closer. And I still got in play on my cam. All right. Took a little fiddling around, as it often does. But taking your time and getting it right is imperative. A couple little things here. O-rings. Push rods next. I'm just going to take a minute, clean up a little bit, get organized here, and get ready to put those in there. But there's a few points I'd like to point out. All right. So we're getting ready to put our push rods in. And what we've done is put our motor in 5th gear and rotated the engine around by turning the rear wheel. On the Trike, it's a little more difficult. I gotta jack one up and lock the other. But the theory is the same. You keep bumping it around until you come up on the top dead center mark. That's where you want to be. When you're up at top dead center, you're on compression stroke. When you turn it over, make sure you're coming up on compression stroke. Then the top dead center mark, which is a slash on this Evo engine, this particular one. Then you know that both of these lifters are at the bottom of the circles. You know, they're both down all the way. So you're able to set both these lifters at this one after the other and let them sit and bleed down. And that's what we're going to do. When you get your push rods out and you have different kinds of adjustable push rods, they often come in different lengths, sometimes the same, sometimes different. So the 2 short ones will go to the intakes. The next longest one, if there is a next longest one, in this case we're almost the same, but yes we are. So the 2 long ones will go to the exhaust. If one is longer than the other, then the longest one will go to the front exhaust. It's the farthest reach. The other thing to watch out for is the threads per inch, the threads of the small adjuster here. And they can vary from make to make. You know, they can be 24 threads per inch, 32 threads per inch, a variety of them depending on the manufacturer, and the manufacturer will generally state that. Now if they don't, you got push rods in your hand that you don't know what they are. You don't know what the threads per inch are. So we have a little thread gauge here, and this comes with any sort of tap and die set that you get. You know, it's very, very common, so you can look in there. And we're looking up at 32 threads per inch. And all we're gonna do is take and put our pitch gauge right down on there, and it fits snugly into that. And that is 32 threads per inch. 32 threads per inch is S&S push rods, which these may very well be, although they don't look like it. They say 32 threads per inch is 4 complete turns when you set them where they're just snugged up. So we'll go through it here, and easier to show some things than it is to tell. And we're going to take a short one of our intakes, tube, and make sure, I've got one sort of loose one here that I know of, so that one will go in the intake. So we're going to take this one and put it in the intake. Just a little dab of oil in the ends. And we're going to slide this up in here because I know this is the one that I need the rubber in. And we'll just hold it up and start threading the short threaded piece out. Now it takes some time to thread it down, and it's also a good plan to try and keep your nut up, otherwise your nut will be way down inside and it'll be kind of hard to get out of there to start on the threaded piece. We don't use Loctite on these because it makes them very, very hard to get out. Hard to hold in my fingers, so I get my little quarter-inch wrench out just to hold that. There we go. Starting to get down where we can start our nut on the thread. There we go. So we get our nut up. We're just going to turn that, and we just feel it touch at the bottom. All right. Now I like to mark them with some of this indelible sort of yellow marker that you can get for marking stuff. And we're just going to put a mark right there. Because now we're going to adjust this down 4 complete turns. So we'll just hold the little one where we can here. My elastic gave up the goat. They don't last long when you get oil on them. Try again. Number 1. 2. And 4. And we're going to lock that up there. Hold that. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. Hold that. Attempt to lock that nut up. There we go. Okay. Now we're just going to let that sit. That's got to sit for sometimes 15-20 minutes. We want to make sure that the push rod will be able to be turned with our fingers. Alrighty, we'll get one for our exhaust now, or our exhaust. And like I said, you can set them both here now because they're both at the bottom. And you should be at your compression stroke, so both valves are closed. Make sure our rubber is up in there. And it is. Nothing worse than forgetting about the rubber and then getting everything set. Fire your bike up and the oil pours out of there. It's very disheartening at times. So you just take it up till it's just snug there. Mark it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Take that locking nut up. There we go. All right, now we're just going to let those sit, and we won't move the motor or turn anything over until I can spin those with my fingers. So, in the interim, we'll see if we can get our ignition back together. So, I'm going to go do those few things. We'll come back when the other push rods are ready. So now I've let them sit for about a half an hour, and you can see I can spin these very easily now. So now I can go along and do the rear ones. One thing that maybe you eagle eyes out there might have picked up, when I put these in here, I actually had these reversed. And you need to put the metal piece in for the base, and then the rubber. And because I did it the other way, of course, it wouldn't fit right. Get our rubbers seated up in the top. Those down there. And always shove them up in there. Make sure that you're locked in. So we'll put those on. I'm not sure if I'm up in there, actually. There we go. Yes. Wasn't locked in at the top. So if you're having problems, stop and just check it out. Because they really should pop right in there like that. If they don't, you're not likely seated up in the top. So it won't pay to force them. All right, let's get the back one on there. Really? Come on. All right. Now we're gonna go along, turn the motor over. All these are down at the bottom. I'm pressing on the rear cylinder, then I'll do the rear ones. So I'm gonna go along and do this and set those. Same procedure as the other ones. We're down at the bottom, bottom them out, 4 turns. They'll be good, and I'll come back. All right, they're all done. We'll wait for them to bleed down, then we'll turn the motor over a bunch of times to make sure there's no problem. I got a few other little things to do, time it, and prime the oil pump. We're gonna have to take the cap off the oil pump back in here, take this line off and shoot some oil down in there to fill the body of the oil pump up. And then we're getting pretty close. So, alrighty, wait for them to bleed. So what I gotta do now is prime the pump, and in order to get that out, I had to take the top fitting out in order to get my tool to get the cap out. So it's an ongoing thing, but there's the hole. We've taken the spring and the check ball out. We're gonna start filling it full of oil. There we go. Now we'll just let that sit, and we are going to turn our motor over slowly just to make sure that it's fitting right. And she's slowly gurgling down there. So we'll let that sit, and as I turn my motor over, by hand, and it starts to roll through there, I'll squirt some more oil in and squirt some more oil in before I drop my check ball and my spring back in there. And that way I can be assured that my oil pump is full of oil. So now we've got everything put back together. I've got my push rods in, and they're all adjusted. I've taken this apart down here and primed my oil pump to make sure that it was getting oil. So everything seems to be in place there. We've turned the motor over a few times to make sure that there's no binding or anything else. I'm going to turn the motor over with the plugs out, just run it a couple times, make sure we're in place, and then we'll put the exhaust on and we'll give her a go, see what happens. So pretty happy with it now. We've got good oil pressure there, and everything seems to be working. I got nothing coming out the breather tube, but I'll leave the catch can on there. It's always a good thing with a bigger motor. So she'll make some power. But now it sounds good, you know, and it's not gathering all the oil in the bottom end like that. So I'm gonna tighten things up, put my breather on, go out for a ride. It's all good. The way it should be.
It's good when it's all good.
It's good when it's all good, yeah.
Sure.
So we're just out for a quick spin there, and the thing seems to be working good. So now that I don't have to take anything else apart, I don't think, I've had pretty well everything out of it from the right and left hand side, so I'm feeling confident in it now. I'm gonna have to drain the oil. I'm draining that right now. New filter on it. Then maybe we'll take it out for a long drive. Today it's hot, it's 30 plus, so might wait till a little bit this evening and then take it out for a run. So it's pretty hot. So we're gonna go on and change the oil. I'm happy with it. Nothing good comes easy. Nothing good comes easy. All right, so now we got the oil change, new filter on it. Everything's in its place, so the only thing for me to do is get the hell out of here. It's 5 o'clock and I'm gonna take Big Blue and go for a drive this evening. See you next week.